Hey guys, it's Lala. Welcome back to my channel. So this video, whatever you see is the title, I'm going to do something like a week of easy dinners. So basically, when I say a week, I mean like a work week for me. I usually cook every night. I try to, unless it's terrible and I don't feel like it. You guys are always like, oh, what recipes do you make? Yes, I still have Easter stuff up. It is June. I just haven't taken it down. So anyways, so you guys always are like, oh, what do you make? Share your recipes. So this week has some very easy recipes. So I'm going to share with you just a few of the things that I'm making this week. I'll put them all in one video. I will link in the description box below the actual recipes. And you can follow those if you need like step-by-step instructions and measurements and all of that. But this will just give you a brief idea of what the recipe is. And if you want to make it, then you can, take the time to go get the link and check it out. So let's start with today's Monday. Let's start with today's dinner. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be making Mississippi chicken. So again, I'll link the recipe. The recipe I think says chicken thighs, but I am changing it a bit and I'm using chicken breasts. I thought I thawed out 3 chicken breasts, but I only have 2. But it's just Greg and I, so this really will be plenty. So I'm going to use 2 chicken breasts, about 6 of these pepperoncini peppers. I'm going to use a little bit of chicken broth. The recipe does not call for this, but I am going to use that. This is the only butter that I have at the house. I did not buy butter, so I'm going to be using this, but it's fine. And then I have brown gravy mix, or you can use au jus mix, and I have a packet of ranch, okay? And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our chicken breasts in our crock pot, and I'm going to pour a little bit of chicken broth in there, maybe about 1/4 of a cup. Okay, so as you can see, both of my chicken breasts are in there, like I said, with about 1/4 a cup of chicken broth. I just like mine to be a little... I make rice with mine on the side, so I like there to be, some liquid. Greg likes to pour it over his rice. So next, we're going to empty both of our packets of seasoning into the crock pot. First, we have our ranch, and I'm just going to pour this right on top of the chicken breast, and I'm also going to pour it, all into the juice. Next, we're going to do our brown gravy mix or our au jus, whatever it is that, you're using. Okay, so you don't stir or mix the seasoning. You just leave them there. Next, you're going to take about 1/4 a cup of butter or 1/4 a stick of butter, which, again, I have the stupid tub of butter. I took my other butter to my parents. Anyways, and you're going to put it like in little dollops or whatever all over the top of it, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, now if you're using a stick of butter, it'll be easier, to just slice it up. But you're just going to set it on top of the chicken breast, just like this. Okay, next, the recipe calls for about 6 of these peppers. I may use a little bit more, but you're going to just place those in the crock pot. Okay, so I'm just going to take about 6 of these peppers, and I'm just going to lay them in the crock pot. I'm probably going to use a little more than 6, but I'm going to lay a few just around the chicken. Sorry for any shadow or whatever. And I know that some people are probably going to be like, oh, this isn't good. I have made this before. So I'm telling you that it is good. It is good. And you're going to get like the juices from the peppers. And it mixes with like the gravy mix and all of that. I'm going to do probably one more. Like right here. Okay. And then I do like to pour in. I do like to just take a little bit of the juice and I pour it in, just a little bit. Okay, so now you're going to put your lid on your crock pot and you're going to turn it on. I'm going to let it cook on low for, I'm going to do 6 hours. So low for 6 hours, and I'll check it. And it's 12 o'clock now. So about 6 o'clock, I'll check it, and then I'll make rice and all that. So we'll come back in 6 hours, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so it's been about 6 hours, and oh, that's what it looks like. So I'll stir it and stuff later when we get ready to eat. But it's done, and it smells amazing. I'm just going to make some white rice, and we'll serve it with that. So I'll show that to you when I get to that part of it. All right. So again, that's what it looks like. We'll give it a good little stir so you guys can see. So it's just 2 chicken breasts, if you remember. And it will fall apart, so I don't want to stir it too much. And there's not a lot of juice because I didn't put tons of in there. Tons of chicken broth, but they're super tender. I'm going to cut them in half so you guys can see how tender they are. You see that? How easy it just comes apart. So they're very tender. And then the peppers, I'm going to eat the peppers. Greg may or may not eat them. I don't know, but I eat them. So yeah, it's on warm now. I'm just going to just stay on warm while the rice is cooking. And then I'll show it to you plated. Okay, and that's how I served it with some rice. I put the gravy over it with the pepper, half of a chicken breast, and some green sweet peas. And that's to Monday's dinner. Okay, so I didn't show Tuesday's dinner because it was just taco salads, like basic. So tonight's recipe is another Crockpot meal, and this is what you're going to need. So you're going to need 2 cans of diced tomatoes, any kind. I happen to have 2 different kinds, one with like pepper, celery, and onions, and then just a plain one, whichever kind of diced tomatoes you want to use. 1 pound of mild or spicy sausage. I'm using mild. This is the one with added sage. I don't normally buy this one, but it's all my store had. An 8-ounce block of cream cheese. You can buy the refrigerated or the frozen, whatever you want to do, but cheese tortellini. And again, this recipe will be linked down below. Also, we're going to need about 4 cups of chicken broth and then 2 bags of fresh spinach. Now, I got 2 bags because, you know, spinach wilts down to like nothing. So that's what I got. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and brown the sausage, and then I'll show you the next steps. Okay, so while our sausage is browning, we're going to go ahead and take our cream cheese and we're going to cube it up. You're just going to cut it into, you know, just some little cubes. Doesn't have to be perfect, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll be back. Okay, I'm going to try to show you guys with one hand. So I'm basically just going to be cutting it. I'm holding the phone with one hand and then cutting it the other, so just bear with me. Okay, and once you cut it the long way, I'm gonna do 2 cuts this way. Okay, so your cream cheese is gonna be cubed, so we're gonna come over here to our crock pot. You're gonna make sure you drain your sausage, right? Drain all the grease out. We're gonna add our sausage to our crock pot as well as our all of our blocks of cream cheese. This is very difficult to do with one hand. We're also going to add our 4 cups of chicken broth.
One, 4 cups of chicken broth. 32 ounces.
Okay, so we are going to pour all of this into our crock pot as well, right on top of our cream cheese and sausage. And you're also going to put in both cans of your diced tomatoes. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do, this is just me, I'm gonna add some salt, black pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. I'm gonna add that to my crock pot, and then I'm gonna give everything a really good stir. Okay, so I've added some seasonings, and again, now I'm just gonna give everything a really good stir. Okay, next we're going to put the lid on it, and we're going to let it cook on low for 4 hours. And then we're going to come back. So let's do on, low, 4 hours. And then we're going to come back in and we'll take the next steps. And don't forget to cover it. Okay, so it has been 4 hours, basically in 4 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off. Okay, so our cream cheese needs to be melted, so let's stir it and see if it is melting. No, so it is like kind of soft, but it's not. Let me show you what it looks like up against the wall if I press it. So like it is breaking apart, but it's not as melted as we would like. So I'm gonna go ahead, this is the first time I've ever made this. So I'm gonna put this on high for a few minutes, see if I can break up the cream cheese a little more. And then I'll come back when it's time for the next step. But you want your cream cheese to be melted, so get that melted. Okay, so I never turned it on high, by the way, I just kept it on low. So it's basically all melted. There are some little pieces in there, but they'll melt down more. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to add 1 bag of spinach at first and stir it in, and then see if I'm going to add the second bag. I haven't decided yet. And then you'll add your tortellini. So let me get that together. So I've gone ahead, I only put in the 1 bag of spinach. The other bag would have just been way too much. This was the perfect amount. And then I've added in my bag of frozen tortellini, and I'm just giving everything a really good stir so everything is well combined. All right, I'm gonna add a little more seasonings, and then I'm gonna put the lid back on it and let it cook for about another 30 to 45 minutes on low. And this is how I served it, with just a piece of garlic bread on the side. And guys, this was so delicious. Highly recommend you guys making it. So this is going to be like mini apple pies. You're going to need a can of cinnamon rolls, a can of apple pie filling, and some butter to butter your pan. So it's a very simple recipe. You can also use cooking spray. So I just took some butter and buttered my pans here. Okay, so you're going to set the icing to the side. You can see what I did here. Sorry, the lighting is not great in this corner. You just set it in, and then you use your fingers and press it down. So I pressed in the bottom, and then you're just going to use your fingers to like work it up the side of your muffin tin, okay? So it's hard to do with one hand, but that's basically what you do, and you're going to fill them all up. There's 8 in here, so I buttered more than I needed, but I'll probably open my other can. So I'm going to do all this, and then I'll check in. Okay, so when you make them, they'll look like this when they're all pressed down. You're going to open your apple filling, and you're going to spoon about 2 tablespoons into each one. So let me try to do this. These are pretty big apples. This isn't like the smushed up apple filling. So okay, that's too big, so I'm gonna have to cut these up and then we'll fill them in. Okay, so that's what it looks like. I used my magic bullet and kind of blended up the filling. So that's how it looks like. You're gonna put it in your oven at 375 degrees for 14 to 18 minutes, and then we'll pull them out and we'll drizzle them. So I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so I cooked them for 15 minutes at 375. I drizzled icing. I had some extra cinnamon rolls. I drizzled icing on them so it's nice and melty, and then I'm gonna let them cool off. Then I'll take them out of the muffin pan and put them in a container. Greg's gonna be taking these to work, so but I just wanted to show you. Super easy. I bet it's gonna be good. I'll get an update from them later. Okay, so I took them out, and as you can see, I'll hold one up so you guys can see it. The cinnamon roll is all around. There's icing on top and the apple filling. So that's what they look like. Greg's gonna be taking them to work. You could even add a little cinnamon on top if you wanted. That's what they look like. Yummy. Kind of like little individual apple pies. So tonight I'm doing a 1-pot chicken bacon ranch recipe. So you're gonna need 2 cups of shredded chicken. I'm obviously going to cook this and then cut it down. Some cream cheese, ranch seasoning, some cheddar cheese, bacon. I don't feel like frying it, so I'm using this. Chicken broth and rotini pasta, but I don't have that, so I'm using penne. Again, the description box will have the actual recipe so you can get all the measurements and everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut up my chicken. I'm not going to shred it. I'm going to cut it up into pieces and cook it that way. That's the way that I'm choosing to do it. The recipe calls for shredded. I don't want to do it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my chicken up, cook it in the pot, and then take it out. And then we'll move on to the next step, and I'll share that with you as I go. My chicken, I put salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder on it, and I shredded my cheese down. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our chicken broth and our ranch seasoning mix into the pot and mix it together really, really well. Again, description box for the link to get the exact measurements. Okay, so I have the 3 cups of chicken broth. I believe that was the amount. And then my whole packet of ranch. And we're gonna mix that together, make sure it's well incorporated, no chunks. So you use a whisk if you need to. Next, we're gonna add our cream cheese. I don't have a block, this is all I have. And this is 12 ounces, but I think it asked for 8, but I'm gonna add 12 because I'm just gonna use it all. I like it to be creamy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all of this into my pot. Well, I did almost all of it. I just left a little bit because I want some for my toast. And you're just gonna cook this for just a couple minutes until your cream cheese is all melted. So it's gonna help if you break it up into pieces. It helps it melt easier. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and do that. And once it's melted, I'll come back and we'll do the next steps. Okay, so it's mostly just a few small pieces left. As you can see, I'm a messy cook. It's just, I am. Next, we're gonna add our chicken, our pasta, which is 2 cups of uncooked pasta, and a cup of our cheese. We're gonna add all of that to the pot. So there's our chicken. There's our cheese. That's a cup. And let me measure out my pasta. Okay, we're gonna mix all of that together. Give it a good stir. We're gonna let it come to a boil. Once it boils, we're gonna put it on medium heat, and we're gonna cover it. And we're gonna let it cook for about 16 to 18 minutes. I'm gonna check it at 16 minutes and see. Okay, so I let it cook for the 16 minutes. This is what it looks like. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna add the remaining cheese, so a 1/2 cup, and then your bacon, and we're gonna mix it together and then serve it that way. So I will show it to you once it's on the plate. This is how it turned out. It was delicious. It was creamy. Highly recommend. Okay, so I wanted to do an outro to this video. I thought it was a really fun way to share with you a few recipes at a time. If you enjoyed this cooking recipe and you want to see more videos like this where I'm including multiple recipes, please do not forget to give the video a thumbs up. Comment down below and let me know what your favorite recipe was that you think that you'd be making. I'm all about affordable and easy and delicious. That's how I like to cook, because I don't love to cook, if that makes sense. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.